Now, for anatomy, I've also seen, there are many variations, and I'm sure What's the Sign has a couple of variations, but I've seen body and like body analysis. Art. So Spanish has two. It's almost like a cloak you're fastening in front of you, or a sort of one-handed version of that cloak. So you're clasping the cloak, right? So Spanish. And I've seen it both ways, back or forward. So check out What's the Sign, see what TWA is going to be using. French. So it goes up and to the outside. French. English we've already seen. ASL or sign language. American, and the way I've had it explained to me, it comes from log cabins. American Sign Language. And you'll sometimes see language. So remember, psychology is you choke a person and then karate chop them to the forehead. So, and in counseling, you give good advice over the desk. Over the desk. Social work, SW. So it comes from either school or work, SW. Sociology, I've seen a few different varieties. One is much more like social, like one of the signs for social studies, which is the society around study, or sociology. Similar thing, but using an S to go around as opposed to this. Sociology. Or fingerspell. Any of these can be fingerspelled. Business. It's also the sign for busy. Business. Economics. Some people add like the fluctuation of the economy. Law. We've seen this before. It's like rule, state, medical, nursing, and communication or communication studies, communication arts. You'll see different combinations for almost any major. Interpreting. Now, some people go like English sign interpreting or sign English interpreting. But generally speaking, we do this. It comes from this sign, but this is hard to do. And that's like the symbol you see over there is what you'll oftentimes see is a symbol in like programs and things to show interpreted performances. Interpreting. Audiology, the study of hearing and hearing loss. A going around the ear and ending up in it. Speech pathology, and it comes from lip reading or that training, so speech pathology. Sometimes you'll see them audiology, speech pathology, both in the same major. education. Now, when people are being specific, they'll oftentimes do ED, education. So engineering, and it comes from, this is measurement, and you can plug into this anything you want. It could be aeronautical. Here's an airplane or airport. Boom, boom. Airplane engineering. Could be electrical, which is a lot like physics. It's just with just the X's. Boom, boom. So electrical engineering, computer engineering. So if there's any specific chemical engineering, social engineering, theater or performing arts. Another one, design. It's a D, and you sort of draw a squiggly line all the way down. And we could do like clothing design, stuff like that. So if there's one specific for you, you can look them up. If they're not in What's the Sign or can't find it on YouTube, ask in class, and we'll see if I have a resource or if I know it. Degree, like they've handed you a scroll, right? So you can have a. Did I not change this? Oh, hold on. I did change this. Why did I not save that? Huh. For some reason, I changed the way this thing was laid out, and now it doesn't seem to have saved. Oh well. I tried to clean it up a little bit. High school diploma or GED. So degree is the same, diploma, high school diploma, college degree. In general, we tend to do the one abbreviation for all of the ones in the class. You've seen how we do, like, this is the sign for spaghetti, but it's also used for all pasta. Or this is the sign for whiskey or scotch, but it's used for all alcohols. This is the sign for track and field, but it's also used for all sports as the overarching sign. So in this case, for the degrees, for college degrees, an associate's degree is AA. Whether it's AAS, AS, there are a number of different associates you could get, but for the most part, AA is just in general. And we'll notice that BA, same thing. You could have a BS that can be confusing and misleading, right? Or BSW. I'm assuming there's there's BFA, right? So bachelor's degree, BA. And then you can be more specific. It really depends on context, but most people are just going to look for BA, AA. MA, especially because like Masters of Science could be multiple sclerosis, MS. So MSW. If you're really going to be specific about it, you can do MS degree or MSW degree, right? Or MS Ed degree. But if you're just talking about a general master's degree, MA, and PhD, even though it could be EDD, it could be a JD. So you can be specific, or if you need the general sign, it's just PhD. We don't usually sign like MD unless we're like doing name, such and such, such and such, MD. Now, that being said, if you're talking to someone who has an MD, we will usually call them doctor or doctor, a D at the pulse, or doctor, and then you fingerspell, right? Excuse me. Okay. So if you're talking about something, if you're going to fingerspell their name, it's usually like Dr. blah, blah, blah. And that could be any doctor, which we'll see in just a second. If you're talking about, oh, my doctor, in an academic setting, or if you're talking about, titles, introducing people, whatever, we usually just use doctor all the way for any kind of doctorate, JD, EDD, whatever. Like, for example, down below, if we're introducing Dr. Hernandez, doctor, even though it's a PhD, because it's not a medical doctor. If they're a medical doctor, it's more appropriate to use this. But this isn't appropriate for someone who has a JD, a Juris Doctorate, right, in law, or DFA, a Doctor of Fine Arts. This is medical because it's dealing with the pulse. You don't want to go up to someone with a doctorate, a PhD in English literature, and say, "I'm bleeding. Well, do you know what's good? I have cancer. Can you help me?" Like, right? I mean, so let's be appropriate. This is for medical. Doctor can be any doctorate. So, college status. You can drop a course or take a course. Drop, take. You can drop out, withdraw. There's another side for that too. It's similar to quit. So you can quit school, or you can choose to step out. This seems like there's always that possibility of jumping back in. Withdraw. This is going to be weird because it involves finger spelling. WD, WD-40, WD, withdraw, and it's moving while giving the abbreviations, WD, withdrawal. That's kind of weird. So you can say, or drop the class, right? Either way it works. On hold, or hold, break. And again, with any of these, if you look at what's the sign, there may be regional variations or ones that they're going to specifically look for. These are the ones that are most used around Ohio. Full time. So you've got a cup here, you fill it up. Full time. I've seen FT, but that's more confusing. This is very clear. Full time. Part. So you carve off a part time. Transfer. I've seen it with one hand or two hands. Transfer. Semester. Now, it used to be we would sign quarter as well, semester and quarter, but most schools have dropped the quarter system, so just semester. And it's just like drawing a 7 school. And then graduation, graduated. If you're talking about graduated, most often we will add finish. So graduate. And then here are the questions for the conversation starters. How would you sign this? If you haven't watched the videos yet, how would you sign each of these? For currently, what's another word for currently? How would you sign possess? It's not like a spirit possessing, or demon possessing me. No, but what's another word for what degree do you? Okay. And then there's group discussions that we can practice in class. Other things will come up that'll be probably more interesting than this. What controversies exist over online or distance education? Who'd have known that this would be coming up now in the middle of pandemic? Like, I don't think they were anticipating that. Anyway. So ASL activity. Haha. I knew this was coming up. More numbers. more numbers. So we talked about rocking numbers before when I was going through. And here's just a little clearer refresher of that is we've got the one area. So the upper area is where the numbers go from higher to lower, and the lower is where they go from lower to higher. And it depends on which way you rock the hand. It's not a huge one, but if it's going downward, so from the 7 to the 6, the 8 to the 7, the 9 to the 8, it goes from the inside out. It's a kind of drop. And if it goes from the smaller digit to the larger, 67, 78, 89, it goes to the inside. And it makes sense if you're looking at it because the inside is the higher number, the outside is the smaller. So if it's going up, it comes in. If it's going down, it goes out. If it's going up, it goes in. If it's going down, it goes out. Okay. So 68, be careful with that, 68, 67, 76. This isn't a huge movement. The elbow shouldn't really move. It's just a sort of tipping of the wrist. Eventually, that will really help clear up the difference between 87 and 78. 7 and 8 is which way it's going. Your brain will start to recognize that, even that if at first it doesn't seem to be that significant. So this is something to practice. And here's another description that might stick with you. So yeah, definitely take some time to practice those numbers from 66 all the way up to 98. And right through the middle, you've got 66, 77, 88, 99, as we went over before. Okay, so now we're about to go beyond, to infinity and beyond. We're about to go beyond 99. And there's a video in this chapter about Roman numerals and its influence on these numbers. And considering where we got sign language from was France, it makes sense that the Romance language had an influence on it. So for 100, okay, I'm going to pause this for a second. Okay, this is part of the changes that I put in the other one, and they seem to have disappeared. So for numbers, after 99, there's a pattern that gets set up, and most often it's just following how we speak it. So it'll be pretty easy to emulate and to do on your own. So for 100, again, we reference the Roman numeral. So the Roman numeral for 100 is C. So 100. And that can be for 200, 300, 400. This is the formal way of signing, right? 500. Here's the C. 600, 700, 800, 900. There's a more conversational way, which is 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600. Five up to 5, we can flex it a little bit. 600, it's 6C, 7C, because it's too hard to flex these. 700, 800, 900. Right? So in essence, it's similar to this, that there's that little snapping motion. 18, 17, 700, 800, 900. Right? I will recommend for right now, just practice doing 900, 9C, 8C, 7C. It's not a perfect C, but we get the idea. It's like ba-boom, ba-boom. So 100. Now 1000 uses the M, which is also from Roman numerals, for million. Well, for not million, for 1,000, which is, anyway, I don't remember what it was. 1,000. And The video says it's one an M in the palm. Most of the time, it's one again. So oftentimes, what I'll reference is take a look at 1,000, 1, comma, 000. If you repeat, like in 1,000,000, it's comma, 000, comma, 000. Again, it's repeat. So one, again. 1,000, 1,000,000. Make sense? 2,000,000, 3,000,000. So back up to 10,000. So we're going to use the 1,000 again, but we're going to go 10,000, 10,000. And some people will do 10,000. Some people do 10,000. It depends on the situation and how quickly you're going through it, but 10,000. Now 100,000, 100,000, 200,000. Makes sense? So 1,000,000, and you can intersperse it to be 1,100,000. Could be 1,110,000. So how you say it is how you're going to line it up. So last, how would we sign 100 million? Think about that for a second as I move on to the next slide. Now, when we're doing numbers that have a 0 in the middle, oftentimes we can ignore it for like 100,000. We don't have to worry about the zeros. We run into a little bit of a problem with the tens digits. If a 0 is there and we have a 0, 5, 0, 4, 0, 9, we want to put the 0 in. Because remember, we are counting pairs of numbers from the decimal point up. So think about it like time. We don't say 1-5. We say 105. It's 10-15. It's not 10-1-5. It's if it's 3:09 p.m., we don't say 3:09 p.m. Right? So we want that 09, 05. So similar to 100, 16, that little snap for a number, so we know it's a number. We use the 05. So 100, 05, 200, 05, 1,005. The 05 just makes it really clear that it's a 0 and then a number. Okay. 100, 05. So now, how would we sign 100 million? 1 plus C plus MM. 100 million. So really, all these make sense if you just start practicing, script them out, think it through. They all really do just make sense. And that's the ASL. So far, you learned what? And again, I'll put up at the top the video. I'll embed it in here. And then also, I'm putting up a separate vocabulist so you can go back and refer. And let me know how the vocab stuff is going. If Anki is working for you. I'm doing a card set for numbers. So that'll be coming up soon.